What's up, you guys? It's Matt here. Welcome back to another video. Now, if you don't know or have seen my other channel or even this channel, I like AMC, right? Not just the movie theater, but the stock. And if you don't know of all of the craze that went on with GME and AMC and any short position and seeing a lot of people that were getting into the stock market heavily during that time, you would know that AMC was heavily shorted by hedge funds and looking to basically collapse that business because they didn't believe in the movie theater model. And honestly, I'm so glad that the community got behind AMC as much as they did, because if they didn't, honestly, AMC would have gone bankrupt and we wouldn't have AMC movie theaters and we wouldn't have that movie theater experience, and you would have to wait to see a newer movie theater opened up. Somebody that's going to take on one location, then another location, and then kind of baby step their way into it rather than having as many locations as AMC has. So I'm so happy for the fact that it's still around, because my childhood was absolutely built off of movies, because they weren't as expensive. We could bring our own, well, we weren't allowed to, but we could bring our own snacks and drinks into there. We go to the dollar store, get I think a $10, less than $10 ticket. And in some days it was even cheaper to go watch a brand new movie, a new experience. It was like removing myself from the life that I was in to experience a whole nother story, because I grew up very poor and the best experiences that we had were movie theaters and going to Toys R Us. Sadly, one of those things is actually bankrupt and doesn't exist anymore. At least I think so. I know they did open another store in New Jersey, but then COVID happened. So I would imagine that, you saw the complete downfall of Toys R Us. Correct me if I'm wrong. But when it comes to AMC, it survived that. And the reason why it survived it was because of us. Now, when it comes to the investment side of things, I was fully sold on the fact that AMC would experience a massive price increase because of the shorts that were going into it, as well as the FOMO, as well as the people that are holding it for a very long time. And from what I understand, there still are a lot of holders that are still believing in AMC and the growth of AMC and what they can see, even after the reverse split that they did have, and addition of more shares, dilution of their stock price and all of that stuff, right? You still have believers, and one of those believers is me, right? For multiple reasons, but I'll bring it to two reasons in this video. So let's talk about my AMC shares, how much I hold, where it stands, what we've seen it get to, and where I expect it to really get to over time. So if you guys could, make sure to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell for more of these videos. Also, feel free to check out any of my links for Webull, for Robinhood. The platform that I am trading on, that I'm going through, is a Webull platform. So if you guys want to sign up for that, it will help out the channel tremendously. That's the word I'm looking for. It will help us out a lot in the end. So feel free to check that out in the description. I also have a link for Robinhood, as well as some crypto currency platforms. So anyways, AMC. The whole mindset behind AMC was the fact that we had heavily shorted, or we didn't heavily short it, but it was heavily shorted position. Meaning that when we decide to buy it or we decide to hold it, we're fighting against whoever is shorting it, whoever's trying to collapse it. Well, it was the hedge funds who put millions and billions of dollars into this and essentially did lose a lot of money, but there's still a lot left on the table. But it's just with time, you start to see people start to spread out, right? Maybe somebody's not as focused on AMC and now they moved over to cryptocurrency. Maybe somebody's not focused on AMC anymore and now they took their winnings and went somewhere else, right? Or tried to invest into other heavily shorted positions that have hype behind it. But currently, AMC's short positions, AMC's short interest percentage of float is 13.61% as of right now. Days to cover 9.55. Short interest shares 58.4 million shares there. Off exchange short volume is 1.5 million shares. Off exchange short volume ratio is 35.95%, meaning that you're seeing 35% of the shares that's out there that's being traded short shares. So it's still heavily shorted. It just doesn't have as much hype from the investment side, the holder side. The the push side. I still see people put out videos on AMC and whatnot, but it's just not getting the same level of traction. The same thing goes for the current short interest. If we look at the short interest, it's standing at, let me make sure I know exactly what it is. Short interest is standing at about 12% as of today. So it still has a little bit of hype behind it. Obviously, I think some of these numbers are not accurately reported, but I still heavily and highly believe in AMC. So much so that I still have 1,000 shares of AMC at currently a cost basis of $31.56. That's what they say that it's at. And right now I'm down, it says $28,000 when in reality I already took $16,000 worth of profit. So everything else that I'm sitting on is actually gravy. So being down this much, I don't understand that. But it has come down from the highest point to where I saw it at. The value that I saw it at the highest for AMC was $100,000 in the amount that I was holding. Now, I built my portfolio back up to 1,000 shares. I believe it's going to go a lot further. Is it going to get back to $393? I honestly don't know, right? It depends on the hype, the standing hype that we end up seeing within it, and if it continues to last. But I do see a lot more hope and a lot more growth within it. You can see this line I drew a while ago and how it has been touching that line. We're still looking for a push back up to some of these levels of the 200 EMA. 200 EMA shows a $34.95 price, which would be over my cost basis, is what they said there. But my value would be worth $30,000+. I only started with $16,000. So taking out my initial investment and then putting that into the crypto market, right now I was technically at break even. I did put a little bit more in there to get me back up to these points, which is a couple of $1,000s. So let's just say I am down maybe $2,000 or $3,000 total. I don't know where they're coming up with this number from, but maybe it's because of all the movement that we saw back and forth. I did end up moving this to Fidelity as well, so I don't know how they're fully calculating it, but it just doesn't make sense to me. But either way, if I get back up to the $31 price, it says that I do break even. Obviously, if I get above that to the 200 EMA, that's a $34 price, which I will be above that in profit. I believe it's going to be worth a lot higher than that, especially with the reverse, split that we had. However, if we see more progression, more growth, and more belief in movie theaters in general and the movie theater sector, the market, then we could see that kind of instead of reverse split, but resplit because the price is getting a little bit too high. Because I don't expect it to sustain a level of $300, $200, $400, or $100. What I expect is it to sustain a level of $50 or $40, and seeing the level of that it splits from these higher levels, these higher tier levels, which honestly won't be a ridiculous market cap, to then bring it back down in price. Because this level it didn't actually hit. This is just on the basis as you're doing the calculation based on the reverse split. I believe the highest price, I'm not 100% sure, but I believe it was somewhere around close to $76, if I'm not mistaken, or 80 or 100, something like that. But it ended up increasing a lot as we were all invested at lower levels of $9 to $10, and that's why I was able to take that profit. So in the grand scheme of things, when I look at it, I still see a lot of potential left on the table for AMC. As long as they're looking to continue to care about the business and the growth of the business and not looking to destroy investors further than they already have, then we can see more and more growth in it and the stock price rise. But anyways, I'm invested into it for two reasons, right? Invested into it for the growth of what we can see in the stock price with everything that they're building, and also the survival of what AMC is. I'm a big fan of movie theaters. I established that. I talked about that, and why I fully believe in this movie theater chain is because it's the largest and kind of the only one that is left that I have around me. If this goes out of business, now I have none that's really around me, and I can't experience those movies unless I go further and try and find a movie theater, maybe a private movie theater, or something else. I believe Regal went out of business, if I'm not mistaken. If not, they closed some theaters near me, meaning that I can't go to those either. So love the movie theater experience, love the investment as well. I can't wait to see this grow more. And honestly, if I did have more money, I would consistently buy into it. But I think 1,000 is enough for me, and we can go from there. So let me know what you think about AMC and where you think it's going. Or do you still believe in the short squeeze, the largest short squeeze we could possibly see in history? Or is that kind of dead based on the fact that we don't have as much hype behind it? Because technically we're not seeing the markets fully thrive right now. And if we do see the markets thrive, are we going to then see AMC make those moves as well and bring people back onto the train? I don't know. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell for more of these videos. I'm going to get out of here. I'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.